are back by popular demand. You guys may recognize the greenhouse. I'm back with Mike, better known as Insane Succulents or the Cyphostemma Lord here. And today we are going to be taking a look at these Uder. And what are we doing?
So today we're going to just harvest a little bit of seed, maybe clean it up, talk about the seed a little bit of their characteristics and how badly they can burn your hands and why you shouldn't eat them.
Yeah, okay.
These guys are ready.
Okay, so step one. And so we got the seed, and the seed, so you guys can see it, they're those little red, like spiky little cherry tomato looking things in there.
Yeah, so they're ripe, and this would be the last of any of my Uder seeds that I'm going to be harvesting this season. And so today, I'm just going to do a little bit of that. I'm going to set these guys down. There we go, I got 3 on that one there.
Nice.
They're looking really good, nice and soft, and I like to wait until they're like blood, like super deep red.
Yeah.
They'll be red, they've been red for a while. They're actually warm, I can feel them. And what's cool about them is they're one of the few Cyphostemma seeds that have like these little spikes. So like little spike balls. Pretty cool.
Yeah, there was that, yeah, back there.
This guy here. I might have one green one right here, but I think that's a dud.
This green one here?
Yeah, that's a dud. I could give it a squeeze. He ain't gonna do nothing. It's just, you know, they make duds sometimes, you know, they abort. So I think that's about it right there.
And
What's interesting about Uder is, you know, they have this gigantic petiole, right?
right.
Look at that. I mean, that's like, what, 5-6 inches. So it just like sends like these huge petioles out. And what's funny is like Uder seedlings, I've been kind of tripping on them and trying to observe like what differentiates them from other species when they're seedlings, because they look pretty much like most of the others.
Right.
And one thing I noticed is that they, from an early age, like within 2 months, they do show this really long stretched out petiole. And I got some over here where you can see, like, look at that right there.
Right.
So the petioles are super long, right? And that seedling's just a month and a half old.
That's crazy, man.
Crazy, and they're already showing that. But otherwise, it doesn't look like an Uder leaf at all. But if you look at like a Cyphostemma, they do have a slight petiole, but they're not, you know, this plant is...
Yeah, the leaves are coming right out of the top of the stem, basically.
It's like almost a year old, I think, that one. And so, the petioles are very short. So that's one thing that I've just noticed with the Uder seedlings and trying to differentiate them from other Cyphostemma seedlings is that they've got that really long petiole.
Interesting.
Yeah, really cool. And they developed that from an early age. I was going to actually get some other seed.
What other kind of seed?
I have this one over here, which is uber special. So this is a habitat stable hybrid of Uder and Carore, is what we think. This one has location data. It's a cutting from a researcher's plant. So this plant was a cutting from the researcher who got it directly from a cutting from habitat. So these seeds are really going to be quite different in character to Uder, even though supposedly this might be Uder crossed with Carore. So we'll take a look at how different these seeds are.
Okay.
All right. Sweet, dude. So here we got some Uder seed, fresh off of the plant. You know, they're different from other Cyphostemma seed. As you can see, they've got like, I don't know if you can see this, they got like these little spikes that are all over them. I'm not sure what purpose but that resembles actually the Uder leaves.
So that's actually technically that's the fruit and the seed is in there.
Yes. This is the fruit with the seed inside. Yes, you're exactly correct. So essentially we'll just start. So the way I'd like to clean these first, and like I should actually have gloves on, so I might only just clean one, but I just like pull the little plug and then I spit it out.
Okay.
So that would be, I guess, the fruit part, and then the seed is in here. What's crazy about Uder seed is they have so many different layers of flesh on them, which is crazy. So this is like this outer layer. And then underneath there's like this white layer that is the cover of like another green layer. So essentially, this stuff that I'm getting on my fingers right here is full of this acid, dipping the seed in water right now just to try to get rid of some of that. It dilutes the acids and makes it not hurt your fingers so bad. These are typically eaten by birds, I believe, in habitat. So that's you've already seen one layer was this, the second layer was that orange stuff, and then this is like a third layer, and then once you get underneath that, there's an additional layer of green flesh, if I can try to get it in there. You see how it's green under there?
Yeah.
So that's what makes Uder seeds so challenging to clean.
So what you're basically doing is you're trying to kind of recreate whatever process I imagine that the bird will do with its digestive system. So it's going to remove all of these different layers and get that acid out of there and take all this stuff off and essentially shit out a seed that's viable and fertilized and ready to go.
Yeah. So here we go. So I'm just going to do this one again here. So I got layer 1, layer 2. I'm going to rinse this one out. Try to get off that orange flesh. And then so I'm going to just do all of these, or at least a couple. Yeah, the little stem stain on that.
Yep.
It's a little umbilical. So that's all discards right there. It's got crazy acids in it that probably, like if a human ate this, it would burn your throat. And I've heard stories of people saying, dude, I'm gonna try eating it. And like actually people eating them and trying to run them through their digestive system and then go fish out the seed later.
Jesus.
Talk about commitment.
Yeah, I thought you were crazy for Cyphostemma, dude. That's a whole nother, that's like trying to sneak Cyphostemma seed into prison or something, dude.
Yeah, dude, that's a whole nother level of love.
Jesus.
I've
only heard of that, like people swallowing balloons of heroin, dude, or something like that, dude. You know?
Yeah, it's a whole nother level of commitment, right?
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet, dude.
Yeah. I'm not there with any of these plants yet. So that's all discards. You just go right over there. I get like a synthetic fabric.
Like a microfiber cloth?
Yeah, and I just kind of rub it, you know? And as I rub it, it starts to peel back a lot of this.
You know, these seeds actually kind of remind me, I just cleaned like 50 seeds of Adenia glauca.
Mm-hmm.
And this would actually be a technique that would be quite helpful because it's very similar.
Yeah, I just find that like it's non-destructive. If you just rub it, you can see that like it's starting to turn green here.
Yeah.
But you can also see that it's starting to remove some of that flesh. And one of the reasons I'm doing it with a dry cloth is because it's gonna burn my hand less. If it was wet, like those acids would come through. Essentially what happens is you start getting like tingly feelings in between all of your fingers.
Right.
And like your hands will just be on fire. It's just like a tingle from the burning of the acids that are inside these seeds. And I'm not sure why they developed.
My tingling Uder.
Yeah, right?
Sounds like some kind of a punk rock band.
They go through several rounds of rinse. I think I just lost a seed.
This is it right here, bro. We just spent 2-3 minutes crawling around the ground.
Underneath the table, but get them kind of mostly clean there like that. And then, and then it's just like several rounds of like running these through.
Until it's mostly green, basically.
Well, yeah, but like at the end of the day, like I'll run it through a couple, no, they'll be brown.
Brown.
Yeah, so I'm not gonna bore everyone with this whole cleaning because this is when you're gonna start losing people, but essentially I'll put those in there. I'll show you what they look like after they've been cleaned and after they've been dried. There's my Uder 2020 harvest.
So this is what the seeds look like when they've been cleaned and are dried and ready to plant, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, okay.
They've got a little bit of that green staining and stuff on them, but they're pretty brown.
Yeah,
overall. Yeah, so that's what they look like after you go through several rounds. And then so, should we take a look at these seeds? So the little background on these is this one is called TCHY, which is like what is understood to be from a plant that is a habitat stable hybrid.
It's the one you showed us.
Yeah,
Okay.
of Corori and Uder, but habitat stable, and they exist right alongside both of those plants, but they have different characteristics. So Tim Harvey wrote an article with John Lavranos for the Cactus and Succulent Society of America back a while ago, describing this plant and questioning whether or not it was a new species. So what's interesting though, the only reason I'm bringing this up is because we've seen Uder seed, and now we're going to see these seed, and they're supposed to be related to Kurori, right? They're supposed to be Kurori Uder hybrids, but what's crazy is that, here, I want to first show you what a typical Kurori seed looks like. Okay.
Cyphostemma Kurori.
Yeah, and so they're dark, but they kind of look like ovals, and if you look at them, they don't have very much texture on the sides, right? The Uders had like a weird kind of like mohawk on them, which I feel like gives them like they've got like this mohawk. You see
Oh,
that?
yeah.
You see that stripe?
Yep.
And they've got 2 channels. I mean, we're getting weird and technical on this stuff, but what's interesting is so these seeds are supposedly a hybrid of Kurori and Uder in habitat, a habitat stable hybrid. And there's dozens of examples of these plants in habitat. One of the first things you notice after you clean them off, they lack the green kind of flesh of Uder. You see that? Although they do have that orange covering, right?
Yeah.
Which is common between most of the Cyphostemma. They've got like that kind of, that fruity flesh. But what you're gonna notice is that they've got a really interesting texture to them, which is unrelated to either one of the plants in general. I got a clean one, but they stay black. So that one's wet and still fresh, but trip on this. I don't know if you can see that. You see how it's got 3 marks on the side there? So this is the seed of what we're considering to be the Kurori Uder habitat hybrid. It's a habitat stable hybrid, but we actually, no one really knows, but we're theorizing that that's what it is. But if you look at the seed, it's quite different. That's the hybrid, and then this is Kurori, smooth and gray, and then you've got Uder, which has like this crazy mohawk, and it's got that green flesh. But this is all theory. Although we're looking at the morphology of the plants, their leaves, and all these things, I feel like there's another element of morphology, and this is one, what some of my mentors like Tim Harvey are teaching me, is that there's a lot to be learned from the structure of the seed as well.
For sure.
And that'll draw other lines and draw other connections, that maybe previously weren't known. So.
Very interesting, man.
It's another way to look at your plants, really. It's another way to observe your plants and to understand, where they come from, and like their history, and potentially, the family tree.